Good evening and welcome to this edition of Newsnight. My name is Charles Odong-Tho, and with me in the studio is Andrew Mwenda. He is the CEO of The Independent and old man of the clan. Andrew, the new week, how is it starting?
I think it's okay, especially for an old man of my age.
For an old man of your age. Yes. Now, Andrew, quickly, we need to discuss something social this evening. I've been reading a lot of stories, and NTV here has done quite a number. Sexual harassment to get a job in offices, and then I think 2 weeks ago, there were reports, headline reports in Parliament that there is sexual harassment even in Parliament. What's going on with this country?
Are you surprised?
Sometimes, yes.
No.
Especially, like, you remember the situation that the case that NTV did in Mbarara, that there is a new market there, and for women to access the market stalls, they have to first sleep and have sex with the managers. That surprises me.
What surprises me is that you are surprised that these things happen.
Sure.
So let me explain to you.
Why are you not surprised?
You see, there has been a change that has been taking place in Uganda. Like all societies that are modernizing anyway, we should not even be surprised. If you look at people of my dad's age who worked in the civil service in the 1950s and 60s and 70s, there were people who worked very hard, they were dedicated to public service. Two, they had great moral values, which they brought to bear on the table, so they were not corrupt, they were hardworking, they had integrity. But you need to understand what is the culture that socialized my father and his contemporaries. One, my father was the son of a chief, right? So, and as you grew up within the aristocracy of Toro,
so you were supposed to be a prince.
As you grew up in the aristocracy of Toro, the people he visited, his uncles, his father's contemporaries, they had a particular set of values that they taught him. He went to a school, the teachers upheld certain moral values and traditions which were imparted upon him. He went to a church, the priest was the pillar of morality in the community. Finally, he goes to Nyakasura School, up to Makerere University. The Europeans who teach him, the British teachers, had a set of values and norms imparted upon him. He joins the civil service of Uganda, and he finds Indians and British people working there whom he worked with. They also had a set of values and ethics that guided public service. So a human being does not walk onto the stage, is a product of a socialization that involves the home, the neighborhood, the community, the relatives, the church, and the school, and finally the public administration. That is what informed him now. Let me give you an example of a child born in Uganda today. Let me assume that he's a son of another chief called Kazinda. He knows the father's salary is 700,000, but they have 10 Mercedes Benzes in the compound. So he clearly knows that the father is a thief, right?
Does he know that the father is a thief, or he knows the father is a hard-working person?
If you are Kazinda's son, you need either to be an idiot, or I do not know how else. You need to be an idiot.
Maybe you must segregate it in terms of the age first.
You need to be an idiot not to know that your father
is a thief, to have 10
in any case, it's also in
Mercedes-Benzes.
the newspapers, yes. That is one. Two, and who are Kazinda's friends? Oloka, Obey, these guys who had also looted public services. And in the newspapers, every day the public servants who have stolen. So those are the uncles this kid visits. He goes to school. The headmaster is stealing the building fund. He goes to the church. The priest is stealing the offerings. Finally, he goes to the school where he's running to be head prefect. He has to buy votes. You know, in secondary schools
even in
Uganda,
Makerere now, they give
before
sweets,
you go to
by
Makerere,
the way.
In
order to ask for
schools,
votes, they are giving out sweets.
Please hold your breath. In secondary schools, when kids are campaigning, they are given money by their parents here to go and campaign and win to be head prefect or entertainment prefect. They go to Makerere University. They find that lecturers are trading sex for marks. You don't know that?
I know that. In Chambogo, it has been... Actually, one man was arrested in
so
Chambogo. In Makerere,
finally,
the report is rampant.
Finally, upon finding lecturers are trading sex for marks, administrators of the university are stealing money. Then they read in the newspapers, they see on radio, the public servants are stealing. Finally, they join the public service. And when they join the public service, who are the people they need to emulate? Kazinda, Obey, and all these thieving civil servants. That level of socialization is right now creating a class of elites in Uganda whose primary interest is in loot. In other words, you need to understand that when my dad was growing up, the people who influenced him, the people he looked up to, whether they were British colonial service officers, or whether they were Ugandans who had been trained by the British, or the Ugandans who were being trained by our local kingdoms and institutions. There is a code, an ethical code that was imparted upon him, which shaped who that person, who he was.
Let's look at another example.
Now you're asking me. You are coming at the tail end of a process. I have started with the home. to the neighborhood or the village, you can say.
To the community, to the school.
Community, even to the church. When I last went to church in 1983, they used to bring, I was a young boy of 10 years, they would bring a basket open like this. We all put in offerings. The next time I went to church in 2013, which was 30 years later, I went to this church at Makerere. And
St. Augustine or St. Francis?
St. Francis or St. Augustine, but they brought something like a ballot box with a piece of cloth. If you put in money, you cannot get it out. Meaning that people in the church
there is no trust.
Have become thieves. People do not go to church to pray to God, but also to steal. So at that level of society, you should not be surprised that there is sexual harassment. You should not be surprised that there is a trade for sex for marks. You should not be surprised that there are so many university degrees that are issued in Uganda which are forgeries.
Okay, good at that point of beginning. Now, do you see any solution to that? I can give you another example which is causing now trouble, because you know there was also on NTV here the report in Kapchorwa where an athlete, I think trainer, was forcing the girls to have sex with him. That is the report, is under investigation currently, no report yet. And that he entices them by telling them that if they give him sex, they provide him sex, that they will run better and that their legs will take them better. And it's causing trouble because we can't then get people that we need to qualify at that level.
Perhaps the question,
is it killing society, this kind of moral degeneration?
Rather than repeat the incidences of what is happening, what we can discuss is how will Uganda get itself out of it? You know, I don't like to be actually a
Go for it. The solution. How can we get out of it?
I don't like to offer solutions. I can tell you what is likely to happen. Uganda is trusting. You see, right now...
Maybe just a minute. Do you know that, for example, maybe the example you can offer, like in France, you remember the IMF boss. There is a disincentive at that level of society where if you are caught in this kind of thing, which is, by the way, criminal, that you are caught sexually harassing maybe a colleague, a workmate, or a junior, that there is a disincentive. This guy of IMF lost becoming a president.
But that is also speculation, because...
That was the report we got.
Yes, but what would happen, do you think, if a Ugandan man was found doing that, the public in Uganda would be outraged not to vote for him again? Please listen to me. I think that we are in a transition. The traditional moral values that held together this society have been rapidly breaking down as the traditional society is itself disappearing. Many Ugandans are moving into urban areas and and they have not yet acquired middle class values, norms, and ethics. So we are in that transition. So you have new values that were brought to this society by through colonial conquest, and traditional values that were here in the pre-colonial period. Now those are disappearing, but we have not yet internalized fully. We are in the process of internalizing these new values. So right now I would say we are in a kind of what you'd call moral, in a moral transition of values. So before that, I can tell you that even if a person stole money from government, I don't think the electorate in Uganda think they have done a wrong thing. That is why if Kazinda went to run in his constituency, he would likely win an election. If Obey went back to Bushenyo or Tungamo, wherever he comes from, he would win an election. Equally, if a man in Uganda here was cheating on his wife and is caught in a hotel having another girl, people would think, do you remember this guy called my friend Gaetano? He slept with a girl on television. He was received as a hero here. So that is what we think. If his greatest achievement on television was live sex,
and he's your friend, right?
Yes, he's my friend.
And they say in English that tell me your friend and I'll tell you who you are. Is that the case? Why don't we end on that note, because we have run out of time. Andrew Mwenda. This was Newsnight, and that was Andrew Mwenda, old man of the clan.